Hello and welcome to Disney Travel Tales, a podcast that allows you to immerse yourself in someone's recent Disney trip. I'm Jenny, and I'm so happy to be here with you talking about my favorite thing, Disney trips. Join us every Friday as we explore the parks or cruise ships with a new guest and learn inside tips and tricks to hopefully help make your vacation go a little smoother. Make sure to subscribe to the show wherever you are listening so you never miss a new episode, and I would love it if you left a positive review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. This is the easiest way to support the podcast. Another way to support the podcast is to use me as your travel agent at no cost to you. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com. Let me do all the hard planning while you sit back and count down the days to your vacation. Okay, so let's get going with today's show. Hello and welcome. You are listening to episode number 85, and this show is all about the Contemporary Resort at Walt Disney World in Florida. Aiden is with me today, and we are just going to go over our experience staying at this resort and kind of a deep dive into the resort itself. Hello, Aiden.
Hello, thanks for having me on, Mom.
This is the last show from our trip that we took in June that we're going to be doing. So this kind of wraps it all up. But we stayed at the Contemporary Resort for 2 nights while we were visiting Disney at the end of June into the beginning of July, and we had a really great experience. I have to say, we really enjoyed this resort. We enjoyed the location, and we'll just kind of get more into that in depth. Of course, as with everything, it was not perfect, and we'll also get into the things that we didn't like about the resort as well. So from the Disney website, the Contemporary Resort says, retreat to this ultra-modern Disney Resort hotel and discover award-winning dining, spectacular views, and dazzling pools. Whether you're staying in the iconic A-frame Contemporary Tower or near the nearby Garden Wing, you can walk to Magic Kingdom main gate or catch the resort monorail as it breezes through the tower. Inside, a 90-foot-tall mural by Disney's legend Mary Blair, responsible for the distinct look and feel of It's a Small World attraction, celebrates the Grand Canyon and the American Southwest. So this resort opened the same day that Magic Kingdom opened in 1971. I think it's kind of funny that Disney describes this as ultra-modern because from the outside, yeah, it looks ultra-modern, but the inside does not necessarily feel that way. What do you think?
I don't know. It does look really cool. Like from like where we're staying in our hotel, we can look down into the cafe. Well, if you look up, you can see like a whole bunch of like hotel rooms and stuff. It's not separated by floors like a normal hotel. Yeah,
the design of the hotel is really cool, and I would say it is modern for it's not your standard looking resort or hotel. We did stay in the main tower, so the Garden Wing hotels, those are kind of on the side. Those rooms, it's separate from the main tower. So when you book a room as a Garden Wing, you are not in the main tower. So that's definitely something to think about. The main tower rooms, you either face Bay Lake or the theme park. We had a view of Bay Lake. We actually were right above the pool. We were on the 4th floor. So when we looked out, we went on our balcony. We saw the pool directly below us and then out into Bay Lake. We could see part of Wilderness Lodge. You could see the Bay Lake Towers, which is the DVC portion of this resort. And we had a great room. We had a great location. But more on the room later. We're just going to kind of talk about the resort as a whole right now. So when you're walking into the Contemporary Resort, as we walked in, it didn't have like a special feel to it, or it didn't have like a really good smell, kind of like we talked about with the boardwalk. It felt kind of cold. What do you think?
Like when you walk into the boardwalk, you get this like really like nice and warm feeling with like the smell, and everything feels really comforting. It's not like this hotel isn't comforting. It's just you don't really get that when you walk in. It just feels like a normal hotel reception. There's a little coffee area to the side, and then just a normal reception desk. So
yeah, it definitely has a more convention style feel. It does have a convention center here and meetings are held here and stuff. And it definitely has that feel. Like it doesn't have a homey feel. It's more kind of cold hotel, basic hotel feel to it. With that said, we really did enjoy this resort. And when you leave that bottom floor that you walk into and you kind of go up to a couple of levels up, then you get the gift shops and then you see the monorail and then you really get to see what the hotel looks like. Because when you're on that first floor, there's just a low ceiling above you. So you're not seeing the A-frame that you see from the outside. You don't get that experience until you're a couple of levels up. Then you really get that contemporary hotel feeling and you see the really tall mural that's beautiful that Mary Blair designed. Chef Mickey's is on this level. Contempo Cafe is on this level. The Contemporary has some of my favorite in like resort gift shops. They're really nice. They're big and they have lots of great merchandise. And so once you're up on this level, then you're kind of getting that feel of what the resort is really like. And it kind of becomes more fun, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Especially with the monorail coming through. That's, this was built a long time ago and this technology seems so far in advance for back then. It even still feels far in advance at this day and age because this is the only hotel that the monorail goes through at Disney. It stops at the Polynesian and it stops at the Grand Floridian, but it doesn't actually go into it. And so seeing the monorail come in, that is definitely cool. And one of the perks of staying there is being able to use the monorail as well. So let's kind of talk now about the restaurants at the Contemporary. On this stay, we only ate at Contempo Cafe, which we actually really enjoyed. That was the quick service restaurant. We ordered breakfast from there a couple of days and the breakfast was really good.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, it's a lot nicer than at Boardwalk because at Boardwalk, they didn't have that quick breakfast option like you do at the Contemporary. So that's very helpful.
It was really nice. One morning we ate, I ordered from my phone. I did mobile order. Aiden went and grabbed our breakfast. We ate in the room. We brought it back up to the room and ate it. And then another morning we actually we mobile ordered again, but then we actually sat in the restaurant and ate. The food was great. We got Mickey waffles, bacon, breakfast potatoes. I think that's all we got from there. All of it was delicious. We loved it. So that is such a great food option. On this trip, we did not eat at the other restaurants, but we have ate at the other restaurants. We ate at California Grill when we went in March of 2021, and that might be one of our favorite restaurants on property. What do you think?
Yeah, California Grill is just so good.
Absolutely delicious. We also had the pleasure of eating there around sunset, and then that was really cool because the chef comes out and like bangs on a pan and makes a big deal about, we present you the California Grill sunset, which was really beautiful, watching over the back of the Grand Floridian, which you see out in the distance because California Grill is on the very top floor of the Contemporary Resort. It is fine dining. We showed up in just regular clothes. None of us were dressed up, but we also weren't coming straight from the park sweaty, and they let us in. It was no big deal, but it is definitely a nicer restaurant. Food was very good. They have these long balconies that when you're eating there, you can go walk out on, and it gives you just amazing views. You can see all the way to Epcot. I think we could even see like the Tower of Terror at Hollywood Studios.
I think we saw the fireworks from Magic Kingdom.
No, you can, but when we went, they weren't doing fireworks at that time because of COVID precautions. But it's really nice. And so while we were waiting for our food, we'd walk out there, take pictures. It was just great. So if you do decide to stay here, or even if you're not staying here, I highly recommend trying out this restaurant because you will probably love it. Another restaurant on property is Steakhouse 71. I had the pleasure of eating here last September when I went with my agency for a training. We had breakfast there. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved Steakhouse 71. I think it's such a great option as well because it's a lower price point for food. So it's really realistic as for a family to eat there and not spend a fortune on food. You just pay per plate. So whatever you order, you pay for For breakfast, I had like avocado toast. They usually have a seasonal pancake that someone else had in our group. They have like a ribeye or like a Waltz steak breakfast meal that you can order. For lunch or dinner, they're really well known for their burger or Waltz chili. And this restaurant is just kind of a nod back to when the park opened in 1971 and when the resort opened itself. They have really cool pictures as you're walking through it of Walt when he was at the property before he passed away. And it's great. And then Roy while they're building it, and pictures of the construction of the Contemporary. And this is a great food option as well. We had a reservation. I kind of made a last minute reservation to eat here, and then we canceled it because we decided that we didn't want to spend time eating when we could just go to the parks on our last day. And another restaurant that is very popular located here is Chef Mickey's. We did not eat at Chef Mickey's this time, but we have ate at Chef Mickey's. We ate there on our very first family trip to Walt Disney World back in 2014. And the boys loved Chef Mickey's. We did the breakfast. It was a breakfast buffet. This is such a great opportunity to get to meet all the characters. One cool thing about our stay on this trip is our room overlooked Chef Mickey's. So when you came out of our room into the hallway, we were literally right above Chef Mickey's. And so we got to see the characters walking around. We got to see families, seeing the characters and the kids. And that was so fun, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really cool. Like, it was just such a really cool view to just see everything going on.
Yeah, that is one really neat thing about this hotel is all the hallways for the rooms when you're in the main tower, they overlook the middle. So you're seeing the monorail, you're seeing the restaurants. You just literally look right down into the restaurants. Well, at least two of them. And then you're seeing the gift shops. And so it's just really kind of an immersive feel once you're in here. And then the whole time you're seeing that giant mural painted in the middle that kind of separates where the restaurants are from the gift shops. And it's beautiful as well. There is a bar down by the pool. There's like a little coffee shop when you first come in. And then there's also like an indoor bar for adults as well. We didn't visit any of those, but they are there. So if that is something that you're interested in, yeah, it's there. It's there for you to do. When was the last time you visited a Disney park? For many adults, it's been a really long time. I would love to help you fix that situation. As a travel agent specializing in Disney, my job is to make sure your vacation can go as seamless as possible. All of my services are complimentary to my clients. Yes, you heard that right. I'm free to you. These services include helping you from the start finding the perfect resort to fit your needs, handling all the bookings and reservations, helping to teach you about the parks, because if it's been a while, man, have they changed. I have insider tips and tricks I share with all of my clients, and I will be your single point of contact throughout your entire trip, even while you are there. Don't wait another year to visit a Disney park or go on a Disney cruise. Let this be the year you finally go. Email me at jenny@trolleylanetravel.com to get the conversation started, or see the link in the show notes to fill out my quote form. All listeners that book a trip with me will receive a $20 gift card to use on their trip. Just make sure you say you heard this on the podcast. Okay, now back to the show. Okay, so we're going to move on to our room since we've kind of been talking a little bit about it and hinting about it. We had a Waterview room. Our room came with 2 queen-size beds, and it came with this long couch that also can pull down into a bed, and it had a table. These rooms have kind of recently been redone, so they are not the original rooms that were at the resort, and they are incredible theme. I loved our room. Aiden, what did you think about our room?
Our room was really cool. Like, it actually encapsulated that modern feel that the Contemporary wants you to feel. It was just really nice and well done. The remodel was definitely worth it.
It had so much space. Like, compared to our room over at Boardwalk, this room felt huge, didn't it?
Yes.
It was so nice. So much space. Like, this is a really big room. If you are a family of 5, you could definitely sleep in here if your kids aren't too old. You know, the older your kids get, the bigger they get, the kind of more space you need. But for a family with 3 small kids, you could easily fit in this room. The bathroom also was gorgeous. It's completely redone, really, really big. It had a bathtub and shower, and the bathtub was huge. Like, I could not believe how big the bathtub was. You could easily bathe multiple kids in it. And then the bathtub, shower, and the double sink were all in one area, and the toilet was in a separate area with a sliding door. And just all the details, the little touches of The Incredibles around the room was really nice. Out onto the balcony. The balcony was obviously original. It's old. It had old furniture on it, which I thought was kind of weird. You know, you have this brand new room with all this new updated furniture that's really nice and clean and fresh. And then you go out and like there was literally mold growing on the balcony and like mold on the chairs. So that's definitely something to think about when you have this room. Don't be surprised when you go on the balcony. And it definitely feels like it was from 1971. We weren't in our room a ton. I mean, we did sleep in, so we were in our room in the mornings. But one of the really nice things about staying in this room is at night you overlook the Seven Seas Lagoon. So you would get to see the electrical water pageant. And one night we actually saw it going by, but the lights weren't turned on it yet, but we could see it kind of going by. Like I said, we had a great view of the pool. The slide was literally directly under us, and then you could see Bay Lake Towers over to the left. And there is a bridge, like a walkway bridge that connects the two buildings, which is kind of neat as well.
Well, I do want to say we were there a lot the first night we were there because of the incident, so...
Yeah, if you go back and listen to our trip report, you'll hear all about how we almost didn't get our luggage. And yeah, we did spend some time in the room at that time. And I think that was when we saw the electrical water pageant.
Well, and we realized just how like really nice the room is.
Yeah, because we were really happy to be in there. Like, oh, well, we don't have our luggage, but at least we have this really nice room to relax in as well. And the beds were very comfortable. And the bedding was really nice. It was really soft and simple, and we loved it. So overall, the room is fantastic. Like, the room was probably my second favorite part of the resort.
It probably was my favorite part of the resort. It was just, the beds were super comfy, and I loved the way it looked.
Yeah, it was really nice. Okay, so moving on to the pool. So there is a pool that is a pretty decent sized pool. It's down on the bottom floor, and it's close to the lake. Contemporary also has like a little beach. With some sand and stuff, with some volleyball courts. So it's kind of over there, and it has a slide. So one evening, we decided to go stop by the pool and cool off a little bit before we were going to head over to Magic Kingdom to kind of finish off our night. And the pool was okay. Like, honestly, my honest opinion is I was expecting a little bit more from this pool because, again, this is the Contemporary Resort. It is like the flagship resort at Disney, and the pool was just okay for me. What about you?
Yeah, the pool definitely wasn't anything special. Like, compared to the boardwalk where they had all those games going on, well, we also went later in the day, but even then, like, the boardwalk pool is, like, huge, and there's so much to do, while the Contemporary pool is, like, standard hotel pool with a slide.
It was a lot smaller. The slide was very short. It was a fun slide, but it was very short.
Yeah, and I also had the same back problem every other slide.
The bumps. They did have a really nice splash area. I noticed that kids were playing around with. So if you have a younger kid, I think they would love the splash area at the Contemporary. There also was a hot tub. We actually got in the hot tub for a little bit. It was under the slide area, which is a weird placement. But yeah, so the pool was just okay for me. There are cabanas that you can rent by the pool if you're doing a resort day and you're kind of just going to spend the day by the pool. But again, I'm not really sure if this is a resort pool that I would want to hang out at all day. What do you think?
Hey parents, do your kids listen to podcasts? Do they like solving mysteries and flexing their imaginations? Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is a new children's mystery podcast. Your kid can join Billy Bonanza and Susie Sockington on exciting and wacky adventures as they attempt to solve mysteries around their school. Mysteries at Riddleton Elementary is available now on all podcast platforms.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, yeah, it's always nice to have a pool at your hotel, right? Especially in the Florida summers. But yeah, it definitely wasn't anything special. It just reminded me of like a normal hotel pool you'd find like at like the beach. Like I'm thinking like South Padre, like a pool you'd see there.
Yeah. Also, one of the things I didn't love about the Contemporary is how how much concrete there was. So when you're coming out of the resort to go to the pool, you're walking across a giant like concrete walkway. They do have trees in there to kind of bring some greenery and life to it, but everything was just very, very concrete. The building itself is just this giant concrete building. Then you have all this concrete to get over to the pool, and there wasn't really a theme. Like, besides being modern, there wasn't a theme to the hotel, whereas some of the other resorts at Disney, they have a theme that they kind of follow and stay with. This one, just the theme might be concrete. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that was the pool situation. Now, when you do stay at the Contemporary, you can go over to Bay Lake Towers and swim at their pool, where I have heard the slide is much better. It's taller, it's longer, and it's a more fun slide to go down. So we did not have the opportunity to do that, but that is definitely something that you can keep in mind. So as with all the other resorts, the Contemporary also offers campfires every night where you can roast s'mores. They have movie night under the stars. You can go on a fishing excursion if you would like. You know, that costs extra, obviously. But because it is on the Seven Seas Lagoon, there's a boat that you can take out. You can actually even rent boats from Disney and kind of take it out on your own as well if you wanted to. So yeah, there's all those extras that you can do at most of the other resorts as well. Okay, so moving on, let's talk about transportation to the parks, because this is my number one favorite thing about staying at this resort. And that was that we could walk to Magic Kingdom. So on the morning that we decided to go to Magic Kingdom, we had been out late the night before at the Epcot after hours party, so we were really tired, so we slept in. Then we ordered our breakfast. And then instead of having to deal with the awful transportation to get to Magic Kingdom, because it is hands down the hardest park to get to, we just walked over there, and it was like maybe a 10-minute walk. It was so fast, and it was so nice. And another great thing is you get to go through security before you even get to Magic Kingdom. So it's like a halfway in the, between the Contemporary and Magic Kingdom, you get to go through security, and then you just go up to the gates and you get to go to the park. And all of that was my number one favorite thing about staying at this resort. It is probably why I would ever stay at this resort again. It was just so great.
No, I love having that option to be able to walk from the Contemporary to Magic Kingdom. Like, I remember leaving Magic Kingdom the night that we went, and the transportation options were so bad. Like, the monorail was so packed up.
The ferry, the
ferry
boat was
bad.
awful.
Everything was like
The
at least an
buses.
hour wait, and we could just walk out with like no problems.
It was just so great. Yeah, and that was another thing. Like, we were only going to go to Magic Kingdom one evening for extended evening hours and then another morning. And we weren't going to go again. But we missed our chance to ride Tron. And so we really wanted to ride, well, we didn't miss our chance, but we really wanted to ride Tron at night. And so we scheduled it to where we were just going to go. We went to Animal Kingdom one morning, and then we were just going to go over to Magic Kingdom that night. It wasn't even a big deal. We just went back to the resort. That's the night we swam, changed clothes, and just walked over there. Like, it was so convenient. I cannot stress that enough, how great that was. And when you're walking over there, you get to walk kind of close to Space Mountain, which is really cool as well, because it looks so big when you're kind of walking by it as opposed to seeing it in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so more transportation. Obviously, there's buses to Hollywood Studios and Disney Springs and Animal Kingdom. Did we ever ride a bus? I think we might have rode a bus to Animal Kingdom, but the fact that I can't remember if we did or didn't, that just shows you that the buses are not an issue, because if it would have been a bad experience, I obviously would have remembered. But then there's the monorail, and that's also a really great perk. When you go on the monorail from the Contemporary, you go through security at the Contemporary. And then you go up to the monorail, and you can either and it takes you to from the Contemporary, the monorail takes you to the Ticket and Transportation Center. So if you're going to Epcot, this is a great This is the way to get there. You're going to ride the monorail to the Ticket and Transportation Center, which is very close. You're going to get off of it, and then you're going to go over to the Epcot monorail, hop on that, and take that to Epcot. I really would not recommend riding the monorail over to Magic Kingdom because of the way the loop is. You're going to go to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then you're going to go to each resort before you go to Magic Kingdom. It's just way faster to walk over to Magic Kingdom. And one thing that we actually learned that we would do next time is when you're coming back from Epcot, you stop at the Ticket and Transportation Center. If you get on the resort monorail, you're going to go to Polynesian and stop. You're going to go to Grand Floridian and stop. Then you're going to go to Magic Kingdom and stop. And then finally, you're going to go to the Contemporary Resort. And I think one day, how long do you think it took us to get back to our resort? Like 30, 40 minutes? It definitely took a while because of all the stops.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So what I would do is I would go from Epcot to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then I would get on the Magic Kingdom loop because there is a monorail that takes you straight from Ticket and Transportation to Magic Kingdom, and you don't have to stop at the resorts. Then from there, you can either just walk over to the Contemporary. Again, it's a really short walk, or you can hop on the resort monorail at that point, and your next stop will be Contemporary. Unless you just want to go for the ride. But we were trying to get to a place by a certain time, and so it just took a little bit longer than we wanted. But overall, I just love the transportation options at the Contemporary. I think that it kind of makes it a step above the other resorts based on the walkability factor and the monorail. So let's talk about some of the things that maybe weren't not cons, but just some of the things that maybe weren't so great about the Contemporary Resort.
I'd say my biggest letdown was probably the pool. It was just very generic. It didn't really feel like a Disney pool.
Yeah, the pool's generic, not super great. Mine is the elevators. I guess because it is an old hotel, the elevators are incredibly slow. There were times we waited a really long time for an elevator. And there were one time we went to the elevator and there was a family there and they said they had been waiting for a while. And I don't know if all the elevators weren't running. I'm not really sure, but it was a pretty long wait. One time when I went down to the pool, I actually went down the stairs, which are on the outside of the building. So I was walking down the stairs. I just assumed anyone could go down the stairs because there's a big exit sign where the stairs are saying you could go. I get to the bottom and there's a big sign there that says cast members only. And I was just oh, I guess I'm not supposed to be here. So I'm not really sure if we're supposed to go out on the stairs or not. But I just didn't want to wait for that elevator because it takes so long. Another thing is the ceilings are really, really low. Aiden is 6'1", and the ceilings in the hallway, you could reach up and touch them.
Yeah.
They were very low. So that's just something else to keep in mind as well. If that matters to you, it might not. So we kind of already went over our least quote-unquote magical moments on this about the resort. Now, Aiden, what was your favorite thing about the resort? Your most magical moment about this resort?
It probably was the beds. The beds are really comfortable. I actually slept really good. And I usually don't on vacation, so very surprised about that.
The beds were great. My most magical was the walk to Magic Kingdom. I loved it. I looked forward to it every time we were going to do it, and it just was a highlight of this portion of the trip for me. Aiden, now you have stayed at 4 Disney resorts. You've stayed at All-Star Sports, Art of Animation, the Boardwalk, and Contemporary. Where does this rate on your list?
This is probably one of my number one choices, just because sleep is very important to me, and just having the nice comfortable rooms on top of having really great transportation to 2 really big parks.
So would you stay here again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for me, it ranks probably right under Boardwalk. I liked Boardwalk a little bit more just because of the atmosphere. But again, this was a great resort, and I highly recommend staying here at least some time while you can. Aiden, I've really enjoyed having you on the podcast over these last few episodes talking about our trip. It was a fantastic trip, and I'm actually kind of sad that these episodes are ending.
Yeah, same. I really enjoyed our time together. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you spending your time over here with us, and I hope this was just what you needed to hear today. I'm always looking for new guests for the podcast, so if you are traveling to any Disney park or cruise, see the show notes for more information about being on the show. Visit the show all around the web at DisneyTravelTales.com or find us on Instagram and Facebook at Disney Travel Tales. See pictures from the guests on their vacations, plus this is just a great way to stay up to date with all things related to the podcast and Disney travel in general. Join me next week with a brand new episode. So until then, this is Jenny, and may all your Disney travel dreams become a reality.